And we are live. Why is no one talking about this? Growing younger as you get older. Tonight we're going to have our discussion here with Heteru, and welcome to Head On with Michael, where we're always trying to find the missing link, and that we're always, all of us are in this together. And we're going to be talking about a number of things about how do we all meet in the mind. Please link and subscribe to the channel, Head On with Michael. We're still a growing channel here, and what we're all trying to learn how to do is to take our head out of the sand. We're going to be entertained tonight with Heteru, and there's just some things I want to add before we get here. And we're going to be talking about the young people. We're going to be talking about all ages here. So it's not just going to be a thing where we're like older people, younger people. Because I think we'll get to Heteru, she's going to tell you I'm still young, and I'm going to tell you the same thing. But that doesn't mean that we haven't grown or learned something that does change us or add to us. And so what we just want to do here is we want to give you a glimpse down the road, because everybody's going to be down the road. Okay. Everybody has a date where they're going to leave this world. We may not know the date, but we do know the dates as we get older. And Heteru's getting ready to have her birthday coming up here. Can you imagine being born on the first day of the year? Well, we have someone who is. We welcome our great friend, Heteru. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. Hi, everybody.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you here. How's your week going? Did you get out and dance?
Well, I'm supposed to go out tonight. I'm debating. I didn't sleep as long. I, I'm watching something on TV and I nod off, and it's early in the evening, and I sleep for several hours, and then I wake up and it's like, oh. So I'm wide awake, and in Vegas, I could go out and go to a casino or something, but that's not what I do. I don't gamble and whatever. So I stayed awake for a while and fell asleep again. So saying all that to say is I prefer to dance when I have more alertness as far as moving my body. But I'll make up for it this weekend.
Well, good. So, what's your for our audience or just me for the first time? What's your favorite dancing?
Salsa. I love dancing salsa.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it because it's tapped into the African rhythms. I'm a rhythmic dancer. And so it allows me to express more of what I most enjoy doing, moving rhythmically.
Oh,
And
good.
you know what? And I think also, as someone that's been into yoga all these years, I understand the importance of being connected to the rhythm of the universe. And dancing helps me to make that connection.
Oh, okay, excellent. All right, now before we start, we always have to bring up um, Heteru's what she does as many things, but one of her things that she's the most famous for, at least as far as I'm concerned, is her incredible essential oils that she's making them for over 15 years. And so go to her. I have a link here, heteru.com, and check out her essential oils. These are great gifts for holidays for people.
True.
So we'll be talking a little bit more about that now, a little bit later. But let's get into this. We're going to be talking about how to be a younger thinking to be older. So how do we put that? I forgot how we put that. Never mind. Growing younger as you get older. Now I wanted to say getting older. I wanted to go getting older to learn to get younger, and I like the twist that you put on it. So
Yeah.
let's start off here. I'm going to start off with a couple of questions for you. Okay,
Okay.
well, I got a
And,
bunch.
and may I say something
Yes,
first? Before,
sure.
it's not about being less mature, because that's the beauty of being on the planet longer is the maturity that we gain. But we don't have to be old and mature. So,
Okay. All right. So here's the first question.
mhm.
If I knew back then what I know now,
Hmm.
what would I change? Ladies
Hmm.
and beauty first.
What would I change? Hmm. Hmm. Well, I could very easily say relationships, but I gained something from every relationship I was involved in. I had to grow in order to be where I am today. Perhaps I wouldn't take things so seriously. That would be my answer. Certain things I would not take as seriously as I did back then. I found out. I think one of the things that I shared was the goal that I had was to reach enlightenment by 30 or 40 or whatever it was. And then I got that message that that which I was seeking to be, I already was. And that took a lot of pressure off of me.
It's good. So if I knew back then what I know now, what would I change? Um, I think I would have not listened to some people.
Okay.
I think that I was influenced by people because I wanted to please people.
Hmm.
Um, and for all you young people out there, it doesn't matter. Whatever your age is, sooner or later, you're going to realize that some of the things you have to go with your own gut
Yeah.
instead of listening to what other people who don't have the same experience of your life on what your goals were. And I was stuck for almost on and off for 16 years, where it took me a thought to finally realize to stop listening to what other people, what I thought
Mhm.
were thinking about me.
Okay.
So um, I guess that would be the thing is stop trying to
That's a
figure
good
out
one.
how people think about you and just
Hmm.
live your life. So
Yeah.
I think that's what I would do. You have anything you want to add to that before we?
Well, because you reminded me, I started yoga at such a young age. I was only 19. And I started teaching immediately. And then I connected with Indra Devi, the first lady of yoga, who was my yoga teacher at 20. And so I began to emulate her. I did what she did. I remember my husband telling me I had even got to a point where I was creating an Indian accent. I was very young. Opened up the yoga studio at 24. And what happened is a natural growing process took place. And I began to perceive a different approach, a different understanding about yoga as I began to grow more and more. And so you were saying you wouldn't listen to what other people are saying or take seriously what others are saying. That was a big, big empowering tool for me was when I finally matured enough that I could present my own understanding of what yoga. My teaching started in the 30s. I started in the late um, 90s, and so we're at different stages. And plus, she was very much a part of what we call the Piscean age, and my work was more connected to the Aquarian age.
Yeah, I also want to add to that too. Is like it's also listening to the right people. I think that I learned to listen to who the right people are, and
Mhm.
there are people who definitely had a positive effect on my life, and even still now. So all right, let's go to the next one here.
Okie dokie.
I got one for you. Forget the past or learn from the past.
Oh, I want no learn from the past. No, I mean life is about living and growing and evolving. And sure, there are things that took place in my past that were challenging, were difficult for me. Um, but I learned the lessons from. That's what's important is you learn your lessons and then you move on. So I learned from the past, and I encourage others to do that. Learn from all of it because this place, this what we call planet Earth or this life, is just a big old school. I personally, my experience has been that it's rooted in um, learning about love, greater levels of love.
Okay, so what I want to add to that is in terms of forget the past. Okay,
Hmm.
I there's a part now. Everyone, you are what you think about. I forgot to say that at the beginning. You are what you think about. In your mind, you have to organize your thoughts, your traumas, the things that goes around in your, loops that go around in your mind. Part of that is placing these thoughts in a room and shutting that door so that you don't forget about them, but you don't dwell on them.
That's right.
So, and this allows you to go take that thought, learn from it. But even if it's like a traumatic thing, because a lot of us have gone through a lot of trauma. I know you have grown up. I know me also. Now, those things we learn from, but also we can't forget them, but we can't also dwell on them. And
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people struggle when you're younger, and even when you get older now. I mean, I know my mother, who's 88. She still dwells on the past. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not saying it's bad, but I think there's some things that you have to add to your life as you
Yeah.
get older too. Some
Mhm.
more experience. Okay. Anything you want to add on that before we go to the next one?
No, I agree with you. Last week we were talking about the power of forgiveness, and this is included in what we're talking about now. We stay stuck in what so and so did to us, or we feel, that we have hatred for them, or we want to seek revenge, or whatever it is that we do. That doesn't hurt anybody but ourselves.
Great. All right, let's go to the next one here. Do people you meet now have to pay for the past hurts?
No, no, I've grown that much. But hello, I mean, in January 1st, I'll have been on planet Earth 73 years. So by now, I have learned a lot. And what I've learned is that, Bonnie Raitt wrote that song or sang that song. I don't know if she wrote it or not, but she sang that song. It was very helpful to me. This was years ago. I can't make you love me. Well, that's true. You cannot make someone love you, but you can be within your presence. You can be in the presence of love, of unconditional love. Unconditional love does not mean that you accept things that are done towards you that are designed to hurt you, or to, something only has the power to which we give to it. So it behooves us to just learn, accept the lesson from the experience and move on.
Let me add to this because we've had discussions. You've been married what, 3 times, okay?
Mhm.
And I've been in many relationships. So I want to put it in a sense of, from your experience, when you first married. I think it was Bill, but I don't remember the other
Mhm.
two. Okay,
Yeah.
so your second marriage. Let's just say I'm just asking this question so that people can understand this a little bit better. So when you had your second marriage, okay,
Mhm.
and then even your third marriage, did you know? Was there something that you bring that the first husband did that you didn't want done in the second and third? Okay, because I know it's a little bit different for you because of your different marriages. Because and I know even my wife, who's married a few times, it's
Mhm.
told that each person's just so different in its sense.
It
So
can be, unless you haven't grown past what you were experiencing in the first experience, and then you consequently attract the same person, just in a different vehicle, because you haven't completed the experience, the lesson.
all right. So with that said, all right. So like the first husband was 20 years. Is that
27.
okay? 27 years. All right. So now,
Older than I is what he's
yes.
saying.
Okay.
27
So
years
older
older.
than you. No. So
Hmm.
so like, and the next person, were they the same age older or they
No,
were
no, no,
actually
he was only 7 years.
okay?
um
Was that
he-
because you wanted to? You didn't want to. I'm sorry. That you didn't want to
mhm.
be with an older man, or you wanted to be someone older than you, but you didn't want to be with somebody 27 years.
I didn't plan any of these. They came into my life, and I never expected to marry Bill Harriman. That was not the plan. And I met him when I was 21, and we married. And it was a wonderful marriage in a lot of ways because he was someone that saw what he felt he saw in me and what he felt I could accomplish. He wanted to support that in every way possible, and he did. And I'm extremely grateful to him. I wanted that yoga studio. I wanted it to be successful. I wanted to grow in my spiritual path, and having that age difference helped because he had the maturity. When he passed, I married the second husband, and I was at a different place. Now I'm 40. Whereas with Harriman, I was 21, so now I'm 40 or 41, I think. Excuse me, and so here was someone that he knew so much about history, my history, of African people, of African descent people, and that was not part of my history, part of my education, and so He brought me into the Black community in LA, and that had been a dream of mine. I wanted to bring yoga to more Black people, but where I was, I'm in an area that was predominantly middle class whites. The Blacks that lived there were people of color that lived in that area. Basically worked for the white folks that they were working for. And so, but I would see these people benefit from this teaching that was rooted in African history. And here, African descended people were not benefiting from it because they weren't part of it. They weren't coming to me. It was like an imaginary line that in LA, in that area, that I didn't see too many. There were some, but there weren't enough. So I had a dream. I really, really, really wanted to get more of this knowledge, this information to the people of color, because it wasn't only Black, it was Latino. At one time, I don't know how I did it, but at one time I was even teaching a yoga class in Spanish. Now, my Spanish is not fluent, but it was more so then. So I must have been having divine help there. So Tariq was my second husband, and he helped me with that. I learned a lot, but it was a very difficult marriage. And so that was the lesson too, because I think that there are certain issues that he has or had at that time. I haven't talked to him in over 20 years, but that he had at that time that I wanted to accept responsibility for and say, well, what did I do wrong? Well, that was a major lesson. It wasn't about me. It was about him. And it was about me accepting, okay, is this someone that I can see myself spending the rest of my life with, and not expecting him to change? Because that was, I'm going to come on, Sabi, I'm going to change you. Women, we have a tendency of wanting to do that. And when I realized that he had every right to be whomever he was, just as I did, and was it mutual? And no. So it began to affect my health. And so it was the best thing in the world was when we did separate.
So
Yes.
your first marriage, you married your father.
Mm-hmm.
Your second marriage, it sounds like you married your child. Kind of the opposite in the sense.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. He was, yeah. But I'll tell you something else. I had in those years I used to go to psychics a lot, and someone had referred me to this lady in LA area, south of LA, and I was having this was before I married the second time, and I was having a difficult relationship with someone else, and it's like we were almost together, and then bam, something would happen, we'd pull apart. So I went to her, I talked to her about it, and she said, "Have you ever thought about getting regressed?" Now I knew about this, but I had never had it done. Regression is when it's a type of hypnosis where they're able to bring you back to past lives. You can recall past lives. And what was interesting is that all three of the men that I married, before I knew these men, were in this regression. Okay, my first husband had been a scientist, and I was a part of his. I was his apprentice. The second one was I was in a position of royalty. And there was a fight that took place, a war that took place, and ended up he was the one that I was warring with, although he was the father of my child. And then the third one was with my last husband, and this was the time of, I believe, Kemet, and that he was a healer, and I was his assistant, but he was in the process of transitioning, and he was asking things of me, and I was asked, the lady that was guiding me through this asked me, I asked him, "Are you two going to connect again in this lifetime?" And he told me yes, and he even told me the time. I don't recall what he told me until years later, and then I realized, that's who that was. So
Excellent. All right, let's go to the next one.
okay.
Older people live by experience, younger people live in the moment. Would you agree or disagree on that?
I don't think I agree with that. I don't think it would be wonderful if we all learn to live in the moment, but I don't think they've learned that yet because they're no, no. Too many people have a tendency. We live outside of the moment. We live in what we believe we're supposed to have in the future. So no, I don't agree with that one.
So I have a combo on here. And, again, as I was preparing for the show, I'm trying to go back to my 20s, even my teens, on how they made my 20s. Okay. The decisions I made as an 18-year-old. And similar for you when you made yours at 19. Okay. So we both had these major things that happened to us at a very early age. And the fact that you moved from Indiana, right? Make sure I'm correct on this. And I moved from Kansas City by the time I was 20. Okay. So my whole goal was I'm going to turn 21 in Los Angeles. See, to me, that's that's a young people, living in the moment. I don't care what I'm moving, I'm living in the moment of because I'm not married, I don't have any responsibilities, so it's totally different. Now, I believe everyone should live in the moment. So before I say anything here, everybody should be living in the moment. Because when you're living in the moment, you're present. And that makes you have presence in the now. Okay. So now in that living in the moment, that allows me to expand my whole consciousness of my life all at once. And I can look at each chapter through my memories, through my living in the moment of taking that all that experience and allowing me personally to make better decisions. Now, I'm not saying I made wrong decision. Because I don't live in regret, but to be able to just take it all. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, getting older is not bad. Okay. Now every one of us had this thing where, okay, we turned 13. Okay. That was a big one. I'm a teenager. Then you turn 18. Now I can go do anything I want. Then you turn 21. Now you're an adult. Got to make decisions for absolute sure. Then you turn 30. Everybody who turns 30, like, holy crap, it is like hitting something there. We know now, oh my gosh, I'm not 20s anymore. So now you're really thinking about kind of growing up, but then you realize part of the whole things during your 30s is dealing with the things of your past to bring you into type of presence. 40s can happen. If you don't have it together, baby, you're still going to be struggling. 50, if you haven't at least had some thought of who you are by then. By the way, it wasn't until 50 for me when I realized who I truly was. And that was a person who lived in the moment. That was my big awakening. This was like, I'm not living in the moment and I am not the best person I could be. And that's why I left Ford. I had a great job making almost $100,000 a year. And I left it because I knew I was going to die on this place. And so I took the risk of everything and left Ford and went out and started my own business. And now I had to do this because I had to meet Heather Root, baby. No way, man. I hadn't ever found them essential oils. Okay, I went to the first week I moved to California. I went to the Living Temple, and that's when I smelled your essential oils. And that was over 15 years, almost right when you
Yes.
first kind of started. I didn't even know that you had first started. So, you know, go ahead. Did you want to add something to that?
Well, I was just going to say, however, you're talking about younger people. If you notice really young, like children, you know, they live more in the moment.
Right.
They take the things that mean nothing to us as adults, and they can make it just, with paper or with tinfoil or with whatever, it becomes a big thing for them. Whereas with us, no, it's, we're doing something differently. So yeah, they're better at that, living in the moment.
All right, let's go to the next one. And this is an opinion. The lockdowns were harder on young people or old people, you think?
What do you mean by lockdowns?
The lockdowns when we had everybody was locked in their house during the COVID. COVID.
On COVID? Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because there was a huge pause. I mean, just,
yeah.
I'll expand on this a little bit and hear your comment on this. Okay, so
I think,
go ahead.
yes, go on. No, go on.
The children, I'm talking about the children who miss school, the young people who miss school. Now, I had a hard time at school, but I had a great time in school too. And seeing your classmates every day was a part of your life and your development, because you have people that are your peers. You're growing up together. While if you're at home, you're still just hanging out with your parents. And so the reason why I say my feeling is it was hard on the young people is because older people we're moving a little bit slower. We don't, it's just like, how many times at one time I'd go out dancing every night. Okay. When I'm younger, I as much as I love to dance, I'm dancing at home with my wife now.
Right. Sure.
I mean, so I think that, in my opinion, I just think it was so much harder on the young people because they couldn't get out and express themselves on a daily basis.
There's probably a lot of truth to that. But, I live in a senior community, 55 plus.
Okay.
And it was hard on folks here too. But, young people use video. I mean, they're so into video games and whatever that they just did plenty of that. And maybe that age group. And then you go up a little bit more and they smoke plenty of cannabis. And so that helped. And then people in my age group, I guess, stayed in and watched television or whatever. But I do know that when things started loosening up and you started seeing people come outside, it was like, hallelujah time for.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you saw how the Chinese reacted when they, tried to pull that on them again. And so they said, no, no more.
During them lockdowns, it was such a strange time, and I didn't want to get on this, but it's still it's part of our history now. I mean, it's just
right.
no doubt about it now. It's part of our history, and I remember because I don't live in a 55 plus, but there's a lot of retirees. So if you go on my block, and there's 10 houses, 5 are elderly, 5 are young. You know what I mean? Right. Kids or whatever. So and then in the neighborhood, and so we had to come up to each other. And I made a decision again. I'm about being spontaneous and being in the moment, and I made sure if people were walking their dog, and I had my dog had passed in the middle of COVID, so I had to get out and walk around a little bit, and I made sure that I went up and introduced myself to people and go, look, I know we're all locked down, but that doesn't mean we still can't be people. And so that sunshine you said when people started getting out and you seeing anybody was such a blessing, and it was such a just to say hello to somebody. You know what I mean?
My friends are so much into dancing that we were able to find a couple of places here that we could dance, but we had to dance outside and we had to wear masks. But we did it anyway because it was socializing, which was very important. And that's one of the not so good things that happens with people as they get older. They do start staying in more and stop, a lot of fearful things. Oh, somebody might hurt me or,
It, it is
I
a
don't,
safety issue, though. It
yeah,
is. It's a safety
yeah.
issue when you get older. You'll
But
notice
but
this.
but if you're moving your body, if you're used to moving your body, then you feel more confident about. You feel less like something or someone's there to hurt you, or you're going to fall, or any of those kind of experiences.
Great, great takes here. So let's go to the next one here. Um, one message from the great Hetaru for young people.
Well, I've got that for you. Unfortunately, my generation, maybe a little younger, not giving you a very positive message about the future of this world. And it's your world, okay? You're the ones that are going to make the greatest contributions over the next 100 years, 50 years, whatever. So don't let what people who are locked in a certain way of thinking be the determining factor of how you perceive the world as being. There's no saying if you're not a part of the solution, then you're a part of the problem. Our world is changing. It may not be changing the way that we think it's supposed to change, but it is in the process of changing. And we have chosen to be a part of it. And your generation, as I said, you're going to make major contributions. But let me just really, really encourage you. I'm so grateful that I got on the spiritual, I didn't say religious, spiritual path that I did because it has assisted me in so many ways in life. It has allowed me to know the truth of who and whose I really am, whereas the world is constantly giving you limited information about who you are. And have faith and have patience.
That's great. Now, here's what I want to say to you young people. Um, it's on you to become the best that you can possibly be. It's on you to take the time to understand your surroundings. It's up to you to understand also in wisdom that not everyone thinks like you. Now, us as older people, we know, hey, we all grew up in our generation and we thought we knew it all. We did. We thought we knew it all and that we see the clear picture. When you get older, you realize how hard it is to work hard, to be consistent every day. The one thing I want to let you know, young people, is that we love you. We absolutely do. And that we understand that you're still defining yourself. Heck, we're still defining ourselves. Okay? So let's give each other some wiggle room. All right? Let's give each other a little wiggle room. We're going to give you all of the wiggle room. I know you all want to have your identification, and that's fine. But also realize that you don't just get to our age without doing something and knowing something. Finally, please be aware of your health. Your health now, you pay for it later. Take care of yourself and stay open to know that we're all in this together and that you are our future leaders. And understand, hey, look out for the old people too. You want to add on to that before we go to the next one?
No, I liked
Okay.
what you said.
Okay. All right. Next one. One message for the older people.
Stop being so hard on the younger people. I liked what he was saying. Just Don't you remember that when we were their age, our folks before us were saying many of the same things that we're now saying about the young people today? Just have faith in them. I believe in them. I know I pray every day for the planet to be bathed in light, and I know that these folks are a part of that. So this is, like I said, this is their world. We'll make our contributions because we are the elders and we have had life experiences that they haven't had yet. But again, have faith.
Great points. Now, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, we know that while we've all been able to look at Heteru and I, we've seen three or four generations come up. Okay, already now. We've seen how we grew up, and we again, she moved to Los Angeles 19. I'm sorry, is that right? Okay.
21
Okay,
at
21.
21.
I was there by 20. So everybody, understand these kids, these young people. I'm sorry, I didn't mean kids. You mean you guys are kids to us? Because come on, some of you're 40 years younger if you're listening to us here. Okay. And so for us, we want to give you the space to be you. But we're also asking, we want space also to be us. And I think that that's the most important thing we all can say to each other is, hey, let's give those kids some space, because we all know how you are at 18 is not the same as you are at 30. How you're at 30, you're not the same at 40. You're not the same at 50. You're not the same at 60. We all have this our evolution. And I believe that no matter what, the space that we give and allowing them to grow is what is going to be the benefit for us, because we allowed them to be themselves until they had that experience of living the life on this planet. Okay, there's nothing you cannot. The only thing we can give them is the space to have their experience.
Right.
And then also, as we all know, you pay for your mistakes. Later, we all have it. We all have to do those things. We take those mistakes and we learn from it. And
Have,
that's, go ahead.
no, I
Okay.
was just going to say I would add, it's never too late. And move your body, get out there and walk. Take a walk every day. It doesn't have to be out there running or any classes that you're taking. Just get out and walk. And while you're walking, think of something positive. Think of something that makes you feel good. Say loving and kind things to yourself. Don't we're, as Michael was saying, we're at some point we're all going to leave this planet because we're too powerful to just limit our life experience to just the few 70, 80, 90, maybe 100 years. But let's make them as good as we possibly can.
And I walked my 2 miles today, by the way,
That's
for the
good.
show.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I did.
Yeah.
And I, with adding to your point, it's like, all you got to do is walk out the door. Now, I know places it's colder right now and everything. You might have to walk around the house.
Yeah.
I've done that. I've done
Yeah.
it. Just walk around the house, but just move. I
Move.
just 100% agree with Heather. Just
Mhm.
move. And I mean, just a little bit, just to say you said, I moved.
Yeah.
I moved around. And also, I want to add, take care of your health.
Hmm.
I know a lot of people in my age group don't want to go to the doctor. Heck, I had issues with all that. But no, get your blood work tested. Okay, every year. Go see one doctor, let him take care of you, check your lungs and your heart. It's better to know it. Believe me, I'm telling you the hard way how I learned. Not that I got sick and I wish I would have gone to a doctor. It's just like now that I'm healthy, I'm still healthy at 65, very healthy. But
Hmm.
going to the doctor, getting my blood work done, I've been doing those things here. And gentlemen, check your prostate. Okay, check your prostate. I know we're getting deep here and we're going way over, but I really wanted. I really think this is such an important thing.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next one here.
Okay.
You're doing great, by the way. Like you need me to tell you, but are young people more complicated than, I'm sorry, older people? I should have said older people.
More complicated than young people?
Yes. Are young people more complicated than older people? That's what I wanted to put.
To whom?
I'm just saying, in a general opinion. Okay, so all right, uh, I'll address it, and you can think for a second. All right.
Yes,
So
yes.
young people more complicated than older people. I think that, and I'm going by my own personal experience.
Mhm.
One of the things that I've done is simplify my life. Doesn't mean it's not complicated. But
Right.
what I've done is I've stopped sweating the things I can't change.
Right.
Okay.
Hmm.
I take stock in the things that I'm grateful for. Having a home, having this show, speaking with Heather Rue. You know, the I've simplified my life to the things that I enjoy the most, and it doesn't mean that it's still not a struggle. Okay,
Yeah.
it's just that I still do yard work. So, do I like you doing yard work? No, but I do like it when I'm finished. Okay,
Right.
so I
Right.
think it's for me, it's more complicated being younger. So, in my opinion, because
Mm-hmm.
I think that when you get older, you kind of have grown into your experience. You already have established tools. Just like you said, again, we are spiritual beings. This
Hmm.
isn't a religious channel. This isn't a religious show, but everybody's a spirit, and everybody goes on. Whether or not you want to believe that, you won't know until it happens. But believe me, it will happen to everyone. Everyone
Hmm.
goes on. Okay. And I think that's another thing about being simplified to know I'm a spiritual being. I'm a spiritual being. I
Hmm.
come from a creator. So I can accept that. Um, you know, and I think for the young people here, this is the only wisdom I want to give you. And this is wisdom. You are a spiritual being. If you get anything from this show, you are a spiritual being. And that's as much as religion I'm going to give you. Okay, because it's not religion.
Not
Okay.
religion.
Okay. It's not religion. Now, Heteru and I are a little bit different kind of beings. Okay, because we have pursued the spiritual path. There's How would she have these? I know for all of you, all the first time on the show, you've ever heard, Heteru was given the formula from the other side on her essential oils. Okay, you can believe that or not. But if you believe that you're a spiritual being, then the possibility is real. And by the way, I'm going to be on TikTok here. Head on with Michael on TikTok. We're going to be going on. We're going to be talking about her essential oils. I'm going to be giving free samples because once you just smell, that's all you do. You're going to have a nose orgasm. Yes, I said it. And
Yes,
that
he said
means
it.
that you will never not buy her essential oils. Final
Uh,
question.
yes.
The final question. What's older people missing in their lives today, Heteru?
What are older people missing in, well, health, as you're saying, that's, there's far too much with diabetes and arthritis and stuff like that because they didn't do what you suggested, and that is to, as a younger person, to sit my blessing. I was a dancer, and then I got into yoga, so it was like putting money in the bank, and I'm able to live off of the interest of it. But I'm still moving. I'm still also. There's too much negative thinking and negative commentary. Too much, my friends get together, and I remember hearing a minister saying something one time about stop your organ recitals. It's like, oh my this and oh my that and da da da, and these are the this is the medicine that I take, and my doctor said this, And okay, sure, you're having that experience. How about saying, you know what, every day and every way I am getting better, better, and better. My life is wonderful. It's filled with as many blessings. And thank you. Thank you, universe, for all, change your language to that and watch how your life changes as well.
I want to add to that. I think that what older people are missing in their lives is flexibility. And I don't
Hmm.
just mean your body, because you should be stretching, but flexibility of knowing that we still have growth to do. Okay. And, we're coming into a time here where we may be coming into a couple storms. Now, I love Hetero. She's much positive. She's more positive than I am. That this is only going to be a period in time. Now, this period, though, could be a little bit tough now because inflation is really hit us. So most of us, what you thought you could retire on, you're seeing now. Oh, wow! You know, I need more. You might have to be living on your credit cards, but flexibility to understand that we're not in the times that we were even 20 years ago. And so stay flexible. And also, my last thing is do not be afraid to ask for help. Do not be afraid to ask for help. If there's one thing we get older, is this pride. And pride comes before a fall. And I have a story I just want to let you know. This guy bought some land in Alaska and he built a house on his land. And he missed two payments on the land in Alaska. And they took his land away and made him leave, move his house. And so all he had was all his neighbors loved this guy. And when they found out about it, they said, "Why didn't you ask me? I would have helped you." And he said, "Well, I'm a man. I'm not supposed to ask for help." Ladies and gentlemen, older people, don't be afraid to ask for help. Final comments is for
Okay.
you.
All righty. In addition to what he's sharing with you, when you put time and effort in learning who and whose you really are, then you're not placing yourself in a position where you are a victim to the world. You understand that as an empowered being, that you manifest the experiences that you're having. If nothing else, you manifest the response or reaction to the experiences. So there's a law. There are laws that govern this universe. There is a law of attraction. Wherever thought goes, energy follows. So if the world is giving you a constant message, which it is, about having that you don't have and what you're not going to get and what's being taken away from you, and you embrace that, then that has to be your experience. But if you stay in your center, in your place of spiritual harmony, then you know that there is but one power, all knowing, all powerful, and ever present, and that it is constantly saying yes to you. What are you saying yes to?
Very brilliant. Um, I just, gosh, you said it all. And I guess my final thing is love, ladies and gentlemen. Love, baby.
Yeah,
Love yourself. Allows you to love others. Okay.
yeah.
If you can only love to the extent of how you love yourself, how do you think you're going to love somebody more
You
when you
can't
love
give what you don't have.
yourself?
As my
Okay.
mother would say, you can't mix what you can't measure.
That's right. You see? So yes, we went way farther than that, but I already knew we were going to go to because it's such a great subject here. And just real quick here, uh, make sure you go to. I put her in the subscription. I mean, down in the description there. Check out her website. Um, Again, we're going to be talking about this on TikTok. We're going to be giving away samples, and you're going to just love, love, love. You ever get your hands on one of her samples and
Can
just
I
see?
ask something?
Yeah,
Can they, if you are purchasing because of what you see Michael and me doing? That's how you found out about Het Haru's Chamber. Will you put something in the comments so that I know that, please? I'd
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Put that in the comments, how you found this out. And it's going to be a whole lot more people because we're going on TikTok here. And I think I'm literally 2 followers away. Oh my gosh. Yes, it's been a long road, but we're going to start the new road. And actually on the first of the year, it's going to be kind of cool. You know what I mean? We'll have a great, maybe we get you on for your birthday. That'd be really cool. Because I always love to hear people on their birthday and you're coming on the first day of the year. So you can set the tone for people. So anyway,
Alrighty.
thank you so much, Het Haru.
Okay. I love you as well. So
Thank you. Love you too. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most important shows I think I've ever done. We're trying to bridge the gap between our generations. Yes, we're all different. We're still getting used to pronouns. Okay. Again, this is why, my opinion is the younger people are much more complicated now. And one of the reasons why is because you were brought up on social media. Het Haru and I, we're basically organic. We grew up when there wasn't all this kind of food out there right now that's processed and made. We grew up where there wasn't chemicals in the vegetables. And so we're our life, you want to say it was simpler? Yes, you could, but what we want to understand with you is that you were engulfed and still are in social media. And I know that this message is for the few. If you're willing to understand what we're saying, it will benefit you. And I mean, if you listen to this show, you listening now, those who are coming in later, and I know there's going to be people that listen to this show, not just weeks from now, but years from now. And you're going to see that our greatest thing that we wanted to tell you was love yourself and seek out wisdom. And if we can bring any of that to you, then we've done our job. I want to thank Het Haru for being here. Come back on the next show where we'll be taking everything head on with Michael. Follow me on TikTok. Please. Bless you, and we love you.